and welcome to Phoenix TV, the weekly show that follows Manchester's fastest and most exciting sports team, Manchester Phoenix Ice Hockey Club. Now, coming up on today's show, we've got the news desk, burning questions, and we're also going to be talking to possibly our most exciting guest so far. So let's get started by heading straight over to the news desk with Pete.
Hi, I'm Pete Hagan. Unfortunately, I'm on my own. Tambo's not here after kidnapping Don Cherry to try and take his job after the playoffs. Well, we're going to start with the hockey news, and first up, who's signed for who. Basically, we start with Peterborough, and their coach, Doug Christensen, has been replaced by Chris Allen. Bit of a strange one there, considering Doug Christensen got them to the playoff finals, but the new coach was quick to act by signing up the goaltender Stephen Wall and forward Jeff Glower. Well, next up, we've got the Steel Dogs, and they've re-signed 9 players from the team last season. Goalie Ben Bounds and forward Yannis Ozolins, who many thought would actually make the step up to the Elite League. Now, no word on Chris Grundmanis, who's one of the Phoenix favourites. I think it's probably the nicest way of putting it. We've also got rumours of Greg Wood, Ben Morgan and Pasha still making the rounds about joining the Steel Dogs. Are they going to sign for him? We don't know. Keep an eye out. I'm sure you'll find out on the grapevine. Next up, we've got the Slough Jets. No news there. The only thing they've got is Sean Thompson, who's left to join Bracknell. Now, Bracknell have confirmed that they are playing in the EPL next season, which is a really good news for the league in general. They've signed Sam Waller and Peter Jacek, both of them back from last season, and they've added Lucas Smittle from Guildford, which is probably the worst kept secret in British hockey this season. Now, talking to Guildford, no signings yet. They've only had departures. Miroslav Haller, again another Phoenix favourite. Martin Massa, who Tambo really wants to join the Phoenix. So, Tony, get the checkbook out. Joe Graham and obviously Lucas Smittle, as we said. No signings, but they have been rumoured to be chasing GB Starlets, Jonathan Weaver and Greg Chambers. Moving on to Basingstoke, they've re-signed Tony Redmond, Sam Oakfield, Ollie Broniman, Kurt Reynolds and Chris Wiggins. And Steve Moria, the evergreen Steve Moria, has decided he's going to have one last season as player-coach. I'm sure he's been saying that for like the last 10 years. Swindon, again, coach Ryan Aldridge, he's back to take charge. And they've signed Tom Murdy from Coventry Blaze, and James Knight also returns for Swindon. Now, Telford, like Bracknell, have confirmed they will be playing in the EPL next season. They've signed Scott McKenzie back up, but unfortunately they have lost Daniel McCreel, Ashley Stanton to retirement, and Dan Scott has gone to Hull. Now, Milton Keynes and Phoenix are the only 2 teams we haven't covered. No signing from either team there. But Marcus Christopherson has been offered several contracts by EPL clubs and also an Elite League team. Where will he sign? Keep your eye out. I'm sure we'll find out the next coming weeks. Now, the domestic season's finished, but the international season is just kicking off. And we start off with Division 1, where GB were playing in the Ukraine. Narrowly losing out on promotion. They got the silver medal, which as 4th seeds is a remarkable achievement. I mean, they beat the Ukraine 5-3, lost a very tight game to Kazakhstan 2-1, who were the favourites to go through. Hammered Estonia 7-0, hammered Lithuania 5-2, quite a few PL players in that Lithuanian team, and then won a 3-2 game against Poland. Fortunately, Kazakhstan did beat the Ukraine in their final game, which means they get the gold and get promoted back to Pool A against the big boys. We had to settle for silver, which at the beginning of the tournament, I think anybody would have taken and snapped anyone's hand off for that. So congratulations to the GB team. Well done, you did us all proud. Now, talking to the big boys, Tambo will be doing a blog on the World Championships, low down on all the teams, some of the players, keep an eye out, as well as game by game. So keep an eye on the website for that. Just leaves us with the NHL. Obviously, the playoffs have kicked in, so we've got the latest standings and series updates. Washington in the East beat the New York Rangers 4-1, moved to the second round. Philadelphia versus Buffalo is tied 3-3. Game 7 is on Tuesday, the 26th. Boston leads Montreal 3-2. Boston lost the first 2 games, ended up winning the next 3, so that one could go either way still. And Pittsburgh-Tampa tied 3-3. Game 7 is on Wednesday, the 27th. Again, that one could go either way. Going to move to the West. We've got Vancouver versus Chicago, which has been an absolute doozy of a series. Game 7 is on the 26th. It's tied 3-3. Vancouver won the first 3. Chicago won the next 3. The defending champ's going to pull it off or not. San Jose won 4-2 against the LA Kings. They're through to the second round, as are Detroit, who swept the Phoenix Coyotes 4-0. And then Nashville ended up winning against the Anaheim Ducks 4-2. Who's going to go through and join them? Keep an eye on the NHL for those.
And we're joined by a very special guest today, unfortunately not in the studio, but hopefully on the other end of the phone. It's the man who led the Phoenix team to EPL victory, Tony Hand. Hi, Tony.
Hi, how you doing there?
Hi, good, thank you. Are you?
Good, fine, thanks.
Oh, thank you for joining us.
No problem at all.
Hi Tony, it's Pete. I've got a couple of questions for you. The first one, there's been lots of speculation and rumours since you won the Premier League title that you were moving on and it was the last year with the Phoenix. Can you share with us where you're going to be next season?
Oh no, I'll definitely be back with the Phoenix next year. I've had some discussions with Neil over the last month here. He's actually extended for another 2 years, so it looks like I'll be there for 3 more years, which I'm really happy about because I thoroughly enjoy my time down there. And I want to build on what we've done last year.
Sounds good. I don't know how you can put up with Neil for that long, but if you can, good job for you.
Now, Tony, there's been a lot of press reports that you and Neil haven't bothered to talk to Marcus Kristoffersson. Is that true?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, I started running the gym a couple of months, about 2 months. It was before the season finished, and I started it was like when Marcus said that what your situation is for next year. He just said he wanted to wait till after the season, and that was it. I mean, too much. It was quite informal talk. It wasn't like a discussion. But in the same token, no, Marcus done a good job for us, and obviously, but my job is to make sure that I've got the best team out there next year. That's not to say that Marcus won't be, but like everyone else, we've signed players for 1 year at a time, and once players go and speak to other teams and try and get jobs, we've got the duty to try and find the best players available. And if I've got a resume of 40, 50 players, I've got to look at these guys. I can't just sign every player. But that's not to say. I mean, I thought Marcus done a good job for us, and I'm sure there's a chance he will be back.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a couple of weeks since the season's finished. Has your phone been fairly busy, or have you just taken a couple of weeks off just to recuperate?
To be honest with you, Pete, this is normally the busy time. A few weeks after the season, then it dies down for a little bit because everyone wants to sign all the British guys, because obviously you need to. There's not that many of them going around, so you want to make sure that you've got the quality ones, the ones that are enough to have a strong team again, which I'm really confident we're going to have. But mainly you focus on your British guys first, because obviously that's where you know what which positions you've got to put in there, because you might find that you maybe lose a D-man, or you might lose a centre-man, or you might lose a winger, and you've got to put your imports in there. Well, no respect, there's always lots of imports going around. The problem is that there's not enough Brits, so that's how you get to put the team together.
Well, talking of which, you've not replied to the email offering my services, so I don't know if you want to check your spam filters or something.
Did you not get it? Did you not get my reply?
No, I'll check my email later.
Now, Tony, will you be taking a break at all this summer? I know that you're going on holiday, aren't you?
Yes, I'm actually going away Wednesday morning. I'm going away for 8 days to Spain with a few guys golfing, so I'm actually really looking forward to that.
Oh, that sounds good.
Now, you were just mentioning the British players there. I'm going to kind of touch on that now. There's a lot of rumours going around that the Sheffield Steel Dogs are going to make a real bid for the title next season. Most of the websites and forums are suggesting that they've already stolen Greg Wood, Ben Morgan and Pasha from Manchester. What's your thoughts on that?
I think stolen's maybe a bit strong, because sometimes, I know, obviously I can't speak for what Sheffield are doing, but I mean, there's a possibility they could be going there. Obviously I can't, like yourself, I know what's going on, but I know obviously you don't want to talk about other teams, their ideas. But regardless of what happens, if players decide to go, because some players go for different reasons. It could be they've got a job, it could be the university, it could be the fact that they want to play in their hometown. You can't stop that. You're always going to have that. But it's my job to go in and get players who will be just as good, if not better, than the guys who have went. And I'm sure we'll be able to do that.
Perhaps a bit of a difficult question here, Tony, because obviously you can't really foresee into the future. But do you think you can make an improvement on the team from last season without being given a much bigger budget by the organisation?
To be honest, I'm pretty confident we'll be a stronger team next year.
Okay, that's great.
I think when you win a title, I think the players around it, we had a lot of young guys from last year, like the young kids. We've got obviously the other guys signed back. I'm probably giving something away there actually, which I shouldn't have. But we've got an experienced bunch of guys who have already signed, and also we've got some other players who we've sort of in late discussions with. I'm pretty confident are signed, who are established British guys as well. And as you say, it's a case of it's to try and prove it. Because if you just sit there back and say, yeah, we're just going to sit back there, and I think other teams are going to be next year. We want to beat us because we're going to be the champions. So I think we have to get stronger, and I'm pretty confident we'll be able to do that.
I'm sure if anyone can do it, you can.
Well, I think it's the thing is with what people, when you're recruiting players, you can't just do it all in the first 2 weeks in April. Because if you do, there won't be good players come around in July and the big end of August. I mean, to be honest, most of the guys I've signed late on is guys like Joe Tallari, David Beauregard, Christopherson, Moline. All these guys were signed late on. So what I don't want to do is a situation that I sign all the guys in the first week in April and then come in a few months' time that really good players are coming around, and that's just how it is. You suddenly just got to wait a little bit, but people do get a little bit impatient, thinking, well, and we should be just signing everybody who makes a phone call to us. But no, it doesn't work that way.
Now, you just mentioned about people getting a little impatient with signings. It kind of leads me on to my next question. Are you planning to meet up with the supporters over the summer and give them an update of how you believe the team's shaping up and how it's going to play?
Definitely. I'm sure that's Neil will organise something for me to come down and meet the fans. I mean, to be honest, I do it every year, so I look forward to it. But we'll be meeting them over the next few months.
Now, Phoenix TV is actually going to be going out again in 2 weeks, Tony. And can we expect you to finalise the first two of our signings ready for that show?
Definitely, yes. I think that there'll be signings either with actually imminent, or I'm sure we'll be in a strong position to announce a few players in. And you see, what people have got to remember is that there's a lot goes on in the background that people, because the season's finished, people start asking, because I love ice hockey so much, they start speculating and seeing what's going on with the team. But there is so much going on in the background that people don't see, and obviously it's probably only myself and Neil who actually sees this, and probably Anne in the office who writes up the contracts. There's a lot going on, and I'm pretty excited. The guys we've spoken to already.
Now, regarding the speculation, we're going to give you one final question, put you a bit on the spot here. Have you got any teasers for Oris?
Yeah, we're pretty confident we've signed a top-class British centreman who's new to the team. And obviously we've got a couple of imports who are or at least one who's pretty confident really he's going to want to come. But obviously my priority right now is making sure that we've got our Brits sorted out, and then we'll focus on everything else after that. But we're making strong inroads.
Well, it's good to hear. Thanks for that, Tony. Look forward to talking to you again. Hope you enjoy your break and enjoy the golf course.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tony.
Cheers.
Okay, thanks, and cheers.
Bye.
How would you like to drive away a brand new Peugeot from Robinson Day Sale? All you have to do is just add fuel. So what are you waiting for? Come on down today to Robinson Day Sale.
At Robinson Day Sale, all our ATA qualified technicians use the latest diagnostic equipment to repair all makes and models of vehicles. All our service and repair work comes with a full 12 months parts and labour guarantee.
Here at Robinson Day Sale we have access to over 2,000 quality used cars. So if you want choice, value for money and low cost motoring, come and see the friendly team at Manchester's Peugeot dealership, Robinson Day Sale.
Well, it's time for Burning Questions. I'm joined by my new partner in crime, Lynn Sellers, and also by Neil Morris. Neil, thanks for joining us. And I believe, Lynn, you have the first question.
I do indeed. Neil, our first question is, do you get a break from your business? I'm guessing it means Phoenix and Comtech, and if so, what?
Yeah, I do try and take a break. I normally do. I normally go on a riding holiday, sort of about end of May, early June. Last year I went to the Rhine in Germany with a group of loons that I know, and we were out there for a week. Luckily we didn't get arrested and we all came home again. I think we're actually going out to Spain this year, to Jerez. Nice. And we're actually going to do the big Grand Prix circuit up at Jerez, and then normally about a month later I'll go away with my family and somewhere sunny, somewhere hot, without the telephone, and take a bit of a break. And to be honest, I know Tony feels the same way. Both of us have worked through previous summers in the past, and you just don't have much left by the time the season comes again, and I think it's important to take some form of a break and to recharge your batteries and to come back energised.
That'd be nice to have a chill.
Just
after your action-packed.
Yeah, well, you need it. I think everybody does, you know.
That'd be good.
Well, this one's a two-part question, kind of follows on a little bit from the last one. First of all, what do you do behind the scenes in the off-season for the Phoenix? And the second part is, what do you do in the off-season?
Right, okay, well, in the off-season behind the Phoenix, obviously, we sort of start again. We go out, we look for new sponsors, we put all the marketing strategy together, all the new offers for new sponsors, all the material has to be done, websites, brochures, CD-ROMs. We go out and visit as many people. This year we're trying to put sort of 4 independent strategies together, which really meet, we hope, 4 different sizes of commercial businesses and trying to attract them all. Of course, we are busy trying to attract fans and supporters for next season, selling season tickets. There's the team to organise, the new strip to design, new colours, working out dates the team will play home and away, trying to bring on board partners with us for the backroom staff, of which you know, most of those have been with us for 5 years now anyway, but you've still got to go out and make sure everybody's happy and that they all want to work with you. So really, to be honest, it doesn't change an awful lot backroom for Phoenix. It's just as busy, apart from the fact that I get Sundays off. And the answer to that is that in my previous incarnation, some people know this, don't I? used to race motorcycles, so I still go to an awful lot of motorcycle meetings in the summer. So I go to World and British Superbikes and meet a lot of old friends and reminisce about what it was like when I was nice and thin and fit, which is just good for you, really. And I do a little bit of touring car as well, so I'm busy all the way through the summer, even on my day off. Oh, and I do gardening. I'm good at gardening as well, a bit of cooking. How's that?
Very nice. We've got a good question here. Are you looking for any new backroom staff?
Well, there's been some rumours that we're changing all the backroom staff, so that's where that's come from,
okay.
Lynn. You know what? It's that time of year where I'm going. I've sold a team. Tony's gone. It's all over, and there's no backroom staff. We've talked to most of the backroom staff. To be honest, Paul Turner's become furniture. So really getting rid of Paul would be very, very difficult for us because his roots go right through the centre of Manchester. So Paul Turner will automatically be with us. Craig, his new sort of partner in crime, has been absolutely fantastic last season and is going to go another season with us. So that's those 2 guys taken care of. Not actually signed the paperwork yet, but off the record, Dynamic have been with us now for, I think, nearly 5 years. The chiropractors, absolutely fantastic team over there. Look after the guys, second to none. I think, pretty much handshake will do us with those guys. We've yet to sign paperwork. And the same with Athlete Matters, physios who back us up. Great, fantastic. And the 2 doctors, couldn't ask for better. So really that's most of our backroom staff regarding the team. Okay. So we don't really have much of a change going on there, to be honest.
I see. Cool.
Now, one of the other questions we've got is more about the team itself. Would you play anywhere else in Manchester if the opportunity came about?
I think this comes from the fact that I was at an open forum meeting and one of the senior councillors publicly asked me in front of everybody, would we play back in the centre of Manchester if the opportunity arose? And I said to him, do you mean at the arena? And he said, no, I know that's not, you know, where you can play because of costs, etc. But if there was a new arena built in the centre of Manchester, would you be interested in bringing the Phoenix back? And I said, we would always be interested in talking to anybody about any form of package that involved the Phoenix playing. And I think the answer is, yeah, of course we would. We'd always be interested. Would we move from Altrincham? I don't know. They're very good with us there. You know, it's been our home since we came back again. I don't know. There's a lot of fans would like us to see back playing in the centre of Manchester because they're travelling. Do you know what? They've not even built the rink yet. But never say never.
Never know.
A little bit more complicated than just, yeah, we'll go to a new rink. You've obviously got all the infrastructure to figure out as well.
I mean, you got lots of things. I mean, remember, everybody forgets this. There is a massive big infrastructure behind the Manchester Phoenix, the Premier League team. You've got the 10s, the 12s, the 14s, the 16s, the 18s. You've got an ENL team. It's not just a case of up the sticks and moving on. Plus, you know, there are contractual agreements with the existing building that we're in. And, you know, I think my answer to him at the time, which has caused a little bit of interest, is, you know, yeah, we'd be interested to talk to people, but anybody would be. And let's be honest, we don't know what's happening in Altrincham yet. Are they going to build a new arena? Will there ever be a new arena? None of us seem to know. I mean, you know, Nickel, don't know what they're doing. I think, you know, we're likely to be playing out of the semi-permanent for many, many years to come.
Final question for you, Neil. Would you sell the club?
Would I sell the club? Okay, that's a really good one. It's a really difficult one, that because emotionally the club means an awful lot to me. It's been a massive big part of my life in bringing this club back and getting this club to where it is today. And there are a lot of people that are, you know, I've become attached to, and I really do love the club, and I love the people. But, you know, I suppose, you know, I'd be lying if I said, you know, if somebody came along and offered me the right money on the right day, then yeah, you know, I might just sit in the stands with everybody else and watch it.
Make your job easier.
Well, I think, like I said, it kind of depends on the situation, doesn't it? I think any owner of any sports team, and that everyone's got the price, I suppose. But yeah, it'd be different without you. That's for certain. Yeah,
and I think, you know, I think I'd find it difficult to just walk away from it all. And yeah, you know, it's a bit difficult. It's not always about money in life, you know. It's a tough one, I suppose. At the end of the day, without telling any lies, if somebody offered me the right money to walk away, then yeah, I'd just have to be certain that, you know, that I've left a legacy and that, you know, they don't dismantle the juniors.
You've made a big achievement, haven't you, in the club? And I suppose that's the main thing, really.
Yeah, you know, there are. You've seen in the past there are clubs that get sold and 12 months later, without being rude to Storm, they're dead and they're bust. And I wouldn't want that to happen again in Manchester. And I wouldn't want somebody to come along who just wants a professional team and doesn't care all about the youngsters and the team of tomorrow. So I suppose yes, I would, but probably with me, there'd be a lot of things in the contract that I'd want to make sure are covered, as well as just getting my own costs covered and walking away.
Well, Neil, thanks for joining us. Thanks for answering some of those difficult questions. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
If you'd like to get any of your burning questions answered, all you have to do is text the letter Q followed by your question, and then the name that you wish to be known as on the show to the number that you can see on the bottom of your screen. I'd like just to say thanks once again to Coach Tony Hand, and also to all you at home for tuning in and watching. Our next show is scheduled for Tuesday the 10th of May, so make sure you keep a lookout for that. Well, that's it for this week's Phoenix TV. So it's thanks from me, Lynn Sellers, Pete and Neil. Goodbye.
Well, it's time for Burning Questions. I'm joined by Lynn and also by Neil Morris. Guys, thanks for joining us.
Okay.
You're supposed to go, I'm joined by Neil Morris and Lynn. Thanks, Neil. Right, Lynn, you've got the first question. Not standing there going... Okay, let's try Pete again. And Pete into the cockpit.